Welcome back to episode 2 of Trapanischoice, your host, Nick Trapani. And unfortunately, we still don't have Mihail here. They're still on much more of a lockdown than we are in the UK than in Australia. So, look, I just hope that all is going well and, we can get through this and we can have him on here shortly, It's going to be great once we have the full team here. And unfortunately, my cameraman can't be here either, so I've got to try and do a bit of the technical side of stuff, which is not my forte. I'm the fucking talent, and the talent should be looked after. I'm not feeling like I'm being looked after at the moment. I'm, one-man team, and it's not going too well. I had some issues with my mic last week. Let's hope this week is a bit smoother and you can hear me a bit better. So one person I really want to thank in the last week is a good friend of mine, a dear friend, Duncan Tulloch, who's basically assembled a studio for me. Now, we can't leave the house. I can't go to the studio that I was designing and putting together. So I called him up and I said, listen, mate, just I need you to do a small favor for me. I need you to build me a studio that can basically fold down when I'm done and I can move it wherever I want to go. And straight away with that, he fucking did it. He always comes through. He's the type of guy that, look, anything that I need that's hands-on or anything like that, Duncan's the man. I call him and he fucking delivers every time. So thanks, mate. And thanks again for your beautiful work of putting the studio together. And it feels very homely. I'm quite happy to be at home here in this studio. I feel very comfortable. Look, one thing about going into a studio or having to drive away is that getting away from home and actually sitting down and doing the work. I feel like I do more work when I'm not at home. But look, I definitely, I guess having this scenario that we're in that we haven't dealt with before, and being on lockdown and being inside the house and looking after my son all fucking day, it's good to actually walk out and have a little bit of space that's mine that no one else goes to except for Mason when he wants to annoy me. And, and basically just be comfortable in my own space. And sometimes I just come out here and write some material and stuff like that. Because let me tell you, when those fucking bars open up again and the stand-up comedy scene is back on, we're going to see who's been working. And it's going to be good. I can't wait to see, look, I hope there's not too many coronavirus jokes because before it even really hit, they were done. They've been done through and through. So, look, I just, I'm enjoying this space that I've got. It's my home away from home. And, once this is all lifted and we work on another studio, that's going to be great too. But for the moment, this is really good and I don't have far to go. I've basically got 10 paces to walk out into my garage where my studio is set up. So it's fantastic. And thanks again, mate. And, I hope that in the future, we can have a little bit of a cooking show as well. I love cooking, as I've spoken about it before. It is one of my passions. I spent all day today actually cooking a lamb curry that I saw the recipe and I thought I'd have a go at it. I'd never made, I find it hard to believe, but I'd never made curry paste from scratch. And so I went to the supermarket today, got all my ingredients and put that on at about 1 o'clock this afternoon and let it cook through till about 6 p.m. tonight. And I did a whole lamb shoulder and let it slow cook. And by the time it was ready, it just pulled apart. It was absolutely fucking sensational. So I'll definitely have to get some photos of that lamb for you up on the Instagram so you can see that I'm not lying, that I did make it. And all on my own. But look, one thing that Duncan and I were trying to work on was a bit of a cooking show. And obviously with this isolation stuff and having to be so far apart, it's not something that can happen right at this very moment, but definitely something in the future to look forward to is a cooking show. And, and have a few drinks while we're doing it. I hope you guys will fucking drink with us on the other end while you're watching it. It's, it's one of those things that what we really want here is a family. And I want everyone to be able to basically, relate to everything that we do. That's what this is all about. Now, as I spoke about in the last podcast, I'm a massage therapist And when I very first started doing massage, I was basically, look, I was very fortunate in the roles that I was given. I was given great roles straight away. And, you know, Mihail being the one that helped me set up my clinic and things like that. But before that, well before that, was basically the, you know, what you'd, you know, the really the days of working really hard, busting your guts, where I was working at Melbourne Football Club and then I was working at another clinic, and then I'd go from Melbourne Football Club to running my own business, which was a mobile massage business. And what I would do is I would drive, set up my table at people's houses, and, you know, usually you'd be treating the husband, the wife, or, you know, I had families with 4 kids and you'd be treating all the kids. So you're not really going and doing just one person most of the time. It is quite, you know, convenient to go there and treat a few people at once. But I had this client and I've been treating him for quite a while. And, you know, this is really the only story that I've ever made a joke out of. Some of my clients go, oh, now that you're doing stand-up comedy, are you going to be writing material about clients? And now, due to client confidentiality and stuff like that, it's not something I really, you know, a path I really want to go down. But this story I just found fucking hilarious. And so it is based on a true story. So the story actually happened. And I'm going to get to the last part where I actually added in a part. You know, I was at a nice little intimate open mic night. And I thought, you know, this crowd are looking quite, you know, relaxed and, you know, let a thing, you know, like a few things go that were a little bit taboo, and, you know, they seem to like it. I thought, they're fucking getting into this. I'll be able to, you know, extend this joke to the next level, really. And so I'll run you through the story. So, you know, I'd set the table up, and as I said, I've been treating this guy for well over a year. So we got to know each other really well, quite comfortable. And obviously, you know, I wasn't doing stand up at that time, but like my mind was always going through, you know, comedy and trying to look for the joke in everything. And this client said to me, he said, Nick, what you need is a young girl to follow you around house to house, because it's very hard to get a proper treatment like this and a happy ending. And mind you, I'd only been doing massage for a very short amount of time at that stage. And so I looked at him and I said, mate, I'm fucking offended. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, this massage thing, I've only been doing for a year. The happy ending part, I've been practicing since I was 11. Now, I've told that joke several times out on stage and everything, and it kills. And this one night, I got a little bit too relaxed, and I thought the crowd were on my side. And at the end of that, where I said, you know, I've been practicing this, you know, I've been doing this massage thing for a year. I've been practicing the happy ending since I was 11. The crowd laughed. And then I said, he said to me, 11? That's a bit young, Nick. And I said, well, my uncle didn't give a fuck how old I was. Now that the crowd were not on my side for that one. But the funny part for me about that is I sort of sit back and I think of my uncles in that whole scenario. Now, I've got 4 uncles and one of them's passed away. And I kind of think of the are the other 3 sitting there going, was it the dead one? Was it him? Who are they trying to put it in? So the joke's probably funnier in my head than it actually ever was in real life. So I probably should never, ever tell that part again, apart from on a podcast where I can explain how fucked up my mind is. Because it's a little bit hard to tell that joke and then say, oh, but guys, you know what the funny part for me is that I'm picturing my uncles trying to work out who was the one that molested him. You know, I'm sure my parents will be sitting there going, who the fuck was this uncle? Which one was it? Which one of my brothers was it? So it's a horrible joke. And let me tell you, it doesn't work. It's not a good joke. And I'll never tell that part of the joke again. But it's very interesting. A lot of people say to me when, you know, listening to my material and stuff like that, where do I get my material from? And has a lot of the stuff happened in real life? And look, I'm the type of person, I'm very spontaneous. I'm very open to anything, you know. So a lot of things happen that probably don't normally happen in everyone's day-to-day lives. So look, a lot of the stories I've probably dumbed down a little bit because I think to myself, nah, no one will believe that would ever fucking happen. but it definitely does. You know, it's it, you know, and some of the times I have to change it around because maybe the story won't make me look good. So I've got to basically throw something in there beforehand to make myself or give me reason to slam that person rather than just slamming him for no fucking reason whatsoever. But, you know, look, I love writing jokes and I love actually workshopping with a couple of people who are also in the scene because we get so stuck on our way of thinking, you know, and I'm very much like that. I've got this tunnel vision sometimes and I only see things from a certain point of view and I'm usually fucking wrong. I've noticed in life that usually I'm wrong. I'm the wrong one and everyone else around is on a different sort of thought process. So it's good to run those ideas by each other and you can basically just take off in several different directions. That's what's so good about comedy and you know, that type of thing. Anything that's creative is you can go off on so many different directions and basically working even this podcast itself with Mihail and the idea of where we want it to go and what we want it to be. And it's great because we feed off each other and we really, you know, push each other in other directions that we might not have necessarily thought of just by ourselves. So look, and that's the main reason why I'm dying to get him on here with me and, you know, basically get the feel of the podcast of what we want. You know, I don't want it to be just me sitting here rambling shit to you guys for, you know, you'll get sick of me. I'm already sick of me. So look, you know, that it's going to come shortly. I'm sure of it. And I think we all just need to push him. So look, definitely comment underneath this video and say, where the fuck are you, Mihail? You're letting your best mate down. And I don't usually like to rate my friends, but I want to put him on that pedestal. So if he fucks me over, I can basically just throw him away. And it hurts more to him that he thought he was my best friend. He thought he was the number one and he's fucking dropped, you know. So, you know, comment on this video and we want to push Mihail to get out there and start fucking recording with me. I need my, you know, my technician here on board with me to help me make sure that, like the last video that we posted, that the microphone was in the right spot and, you know, people could hear me fucking properly, mate. That's your fucking job. And, you know, what you see in our, on our Instagram page with our little videos going back and forth at each other, that is dumbed down too, because the way we talk to each other, most people would just fucking not understand. And so, you know, as I said, he is in the UK. He's been there for, I'd say close to, you know, 6.5, 7 years now. And when I was on my honeymoon, we actually went to Florence. And, well, we went all over Italy, but one of the places where we were staying at Florence, Mihail and his wife now came over there and met us. And I actually hadn't met, it was his girlfriend at the time. I hadn't met her yet, obviously the distance and things like that. And I remember a comment that she made was, how the fuck are you two so similar? And we hadn't been in the country for, you know, the same amount of time, you know, for that amount of time, but, you know, we walk the same, we say the same stupid fucking jokes. If, you know, and obviously if you're with us for a long period of time, you'll realize that if there's a joke to be there, I'm always going to start on the other side of the line that you're not supposed to cross. That to me is where the joke gets funnier and funnier. And I think she finally realizes of a little bit of why he is the way he is and, you know, and why I am the way that I am. But it's good to have someone that is so similar that I don't even necessarily have to talk about something. He will know how I'm feeling about a certain type of thing, especially to do with something that we're working on. So, you know, that's a great thing to have. So make sure you guys underneath comment, fucking start working, Mihail. Work. And, you know, look, One thing I want to just say is that I've had a few conversations today and the last couple of days, and it's quite interesting. I think in Australia here, with the coronavirus, where we don't have as many people sick. So it's quite a strange thing. And talking to a couple of guys today, and they were both on the same page. They're in construction and tradies, and so they're still allowed to work. And so they've got hundreds of guys on work sites, obviously not near each other. They're still keeping their social distance, and even in the lunchrooms, things like that. Things are all different. Don't get me wrong, but they're saying no one knows anyone that's sick here. So a lot of people are starting to think that that it's a hoax, or maybe not a hoax. Look, there's definitely a virus, or it could be 5G happening. But it is a tough one in Australia. I sort of want to explain it. Obviously, you can't see it. So when you're in a country where the rate of contraction is so high, like America or the UK and Italy and France and places like that have just been crazy. When you're in a place like Australia, it's very hard to sort of work out why we're home, because you can go down the supermarket and grab your groceries and stuff like that. And people are out and about. Not heaps. It's not flooded like it used to be, but there's still some people out, and there's people on the roads driving, and no one seems to be sick. So we can't really see it. I don't think our hospitals are even bombarded at this stage. We haven't hit winter yet, so let's see what will happen when that happens. But I really hope that this fucking ban lifts soon, because I am so fucking over being indoors. I want to get out and about, and I want to start doing those things. I was talking to a friend today, and me and him quite often we go out for steak, and I said one thing that I want to do as soon as this fucking thing lifts is go out and get my steak. And he goes, that's a fucking fantastic idea, because the amount of times that we say that, let's catch up and let's go for dinner and things like that, and it doesn't end up happening. For whatever reason, we put other things first, and we start saying, we can go next week, or we'll go the following week, and it keeps happening, keep pushing these things out. And this has made me realize is really live in the moment and enjoy that time that you can go out, because something like this, where it's been taken away from us, where we're not allowed to do those things, it really brings things right back, maybe to where things were, maybe 40, 50 years ago, where we were at home. There were two couples that were sort of home at night, not working as much. There might be just one income, one person working, so the other person's at home. And let me tell you, I'm fucking, I wouldn't call it homeschooling Mason, who's 3, and he's in childcare, and they've set up a bit of a program. And I'm 3 days in, and I haven't even fucking looked at it. So I basically am the worst role model for Mason. And even the other day, I had him doing some work for me, where he was basically just holding the microphone for me. And tonight I put him to bed, and he starts repeating the lines that I was saying for that. And it's quite funny how they absorb these things. And he's going to go back to school when this whole thing's over, and he's going to be standing there, and he goes, I'm a comedian, a massage therapist, a father, a friend to some, and a brother to others. And he goes, let me fucking tell you, yeah, I'm a comedian. And they're going to go, what the hell has this kid been doing in the time that's off? But look, school wasn't for me, so it's not really a big thing, a path that I necessarily care. Well, I do care that he gets a good education, of course, and he has got into a good school and things like that. But I really care more about the personality and the creativity side, and I really hone in on that. No matter what it is that he does that is a little bit creative, I embrace it. Like one day he woke up, and I go, what do you want to be when you're older, Mason? Just to see what fucked up thing he'd say. And he said, I want to be a painter. And I went, oh, okay. And then he goes, and a princess. And so what I did was that day, I went to the shops and I bought him a princess dress. And even the lady, when I went through the register, she goes, "Oh, that's a really cute dress." And I go, "Yeah, it's for my son." He wants to be a fucking princess. And so I picked him up from childcare that day, and I said, "Look, mate, I've got a surprise for you at home." And he goes, "Chocolate?" He loves fucking chocolate. I don't know where he gets that from because I fucking hate it. But he got home, and there on his bed was this princess dress, and he was fucking wrapped. He was over the moon that I'd done this for him. And I put it on him, and he started doing all these little spins and twirls and whatnot. And he goes, "Okay, Dad, I'm over it," and took it off. So and he's never put it back on since. But the point is, like, I think that we should encourage that behavior. Let our kids explore whatever path, whatever sort of imagination they have, because very quickly we get told to stop thinking like that, to stop imagining as much as we do, stop using that part of your brain. And I think it's very crucial, especially in these times like now, where we're stuck at home, and some people that can't work, that have gone to school, then gone to uni, and they've gone down a certain path, and they have perfected their art, so to speak, but they don't have anything to fall back on. And this is where a fucking hustler comes out, right? This is where someone who's basically maybe not known what direction to go down in life and done several different things along the way. So they've honed in on several different skills. Maybe they haven't perfected them, but now's a time where it's like, well, where can we start putting these things in place so that we can actually start doing other things? And this is what's fantastic about this time, is we're seeing such a different range of ways things that can be done, and people thinking way outside the box that they'd normally do, and staying stagnant in their role. You know, how can we do things that are online, that are helping people, that are doing all these types of things? I'm not going to help people. This is really just for me to get this shit off my fucking head. Because otherwise I go fucking mental. I still can't sleep at night, especially after I do something like this, where, you're basically going nonstop and thinking about, and going through the process of what you're going to talk about and whatnot. And then I go to bed and I'm like, oh, but I haven't fucking finished. I haven't finished talking about that one thing, or maybe I should have spoken about that as well. So look, I really want everyone to basically enjoy this time, live in the moment still, even though it's hard to, be on lockdown, be on forced lockdown. I think that's the worst part. I'd be more than happy to take a couple of months off if I fucking choose, and I can go on a nice holiday, a vacation somewhere. But this is a forced lockdown where most people don't like being told what to do, and I'm one of them. I hate being told what to do. I don't want to go to work, but now that you're telling me not to go to work, well, I fucking want to be there. I want to do exactly what you don't want me to do. But, look, oh, geez, it's a tough one as well, because especially with podcasting and things like that, usually what we talk about are these really topical things. I'm fucking over talking about the Tiger King and what he's up to. And I think the best part about that whole scenario, that whole story, and I don't want to go right into anything really about it, but I love that Donald Trump is now looking into whether or not he is a little bit too extreme. I mean, their death is the coronavirus. And one thing that has come out of it is that everyone has watched Tiger King, and maybe a part of this guy thought, I mean, this is what a fucked up time we live in, where I know it's not social media as such, but Netflix has become such a empowering device for us to basically learn and sort of, I guess it brings us together, because it's another thing that we can also talk about, a shot and things like that. And it's amazing that in this time putting a documentary out there of something that started a number of years ago, but it's still being affected today, we as the people can now affect. And I guess that's what I was sort of talking about with, maybe we should make a documentary about George Pell and get that out there, you know. Maybe that way we can get him back in jail, you know, back. I'd put him right in fucking the hardest part of the prison as well. And, you know, just see how, maybe even just for a night, just to fuck with him. I'm sure he was, you know, in a really cushy little cell, and, you know, he had Foxtel and he probably had Netflix too, and probably watched Tiger King. But, you know, just for one night, or maybe just on that first night, they should have taken him in and put him in with the hardest, baddest motherfucker. And just seeing the look on his face, and the big guy standing there covered in tats and everything. And he goes, "Do you want the bottom or the top one?" I just picture the look on George Pell's face. And maybe if he said, "Would you like to share a little bit of my wine?" Oh, jeez. Oh. Look, I want to be honest with you guys. I started feeling a little bit sick this afternoon. I got a little bit worried. Not for my safety, obviously, with this at all. It's more to do with, and I know why I'm sick. It's these people that believe that 5G are causing this coronavirus. I mean, it's brilliant. You know, can you believe that there's people out there that actually believe that these 5G towers are putting out this frequency that's so high that's causing flu-like symptoms? And what they believe is that our bodies are trying to fight this. They don't know what it is. It's a foreign radiation that's coming into our body. It's attacking our cells, and our cells are trying to fight off this, and it presents flu-like symptoms, nausea, all these things. Look, there is a lot of things still up in the air about the coronavirus, and they don't know a lot about it. But, you know, I just think it's absolutely hilarious, these people out there who believe that the 5G of what's causing it. And I got invited to a Facebook group of these believers, these believers of this group. And what they're, you know, people are going around and they're taking videos of these towers being installed. And I mean, I'm trying to put this in a way so you understand how fucking ridiculous they are. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that the government are keeping us isolated, keeping us home, and at night they're putting these towers up behind our backs. We're going to walk out, there's just going to be all these fucking towers everywhere. And they're filming this being installed, saying, this is why we're sick, you know, I can't believe it, this is why we're sick, can you believe they're putting these towers up right here in front of a fucking church, trying to disguise it as a cross, all this bullshit, right? Now, the funny thing is that they're showing them being installed, which fucking tells me they're not running. So why are people dying? They're not even running yet. They're being installed. We don't have 5G running yet. So I don't understand why we'd possibly be dying of this 5G infection. I love my conspiracy theories, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk a lot of conspiracy theories here, and I've gone down many rabbit holes. But surely this is one that you can just look at and go, oh, maybe I'm not quite right with that one. Maybe that one's not right. And look, I have no doubt that you know, not no doubt, but I'd probably lean towards that this was, people are benefiting from this virus. I don't know who, but I'm sure one day something will come out about, you know, where it really came from, who's benefiting more from it. And also, you know, people are already using it for political things in America and things like that. So, you know, it's not just straight out a virus and everyone's worried. People are using this, but the 5G stuff's hilarious. I can't wait personally for 5G because I want a better internet connection than what I got with NBN. So I'm more than happy for 5G. So let's get that going. Let's get 5G going. And a few people have to die for me to have quicker internet, I'm fine with that. I got no problem. If they can actually fix Australia's problem with internet, more than happy for a few people to die. I'm sure it's not going to be in the figures of what's happening with the coronavirus, but look, if people have to die for me to enjoy my internet, I'm happy with that. You know, I want to be able to stream quick. Yeah, but look, if you believe that 5G is causing these problems, just have a little think about it. You're showing videos of people installing the towers, not them running, not the towers running. You know, look, if you stood under one for a long amount of time, I'm sure you'd probably feel a bit sick. I'm sure if you stood under the power lines now, you'd feel a bit sick too. So, you know, let's just fucking... And look, I'm sure people are acting like this because, especially at this time, people are scared. People are worried, you know. People are suffering really severe anxiety over this. And I was in the park yesterday walking my son, Mason, who's 3. And we're walking along and there's a couple, and it's an off-the-lead park. So you can take your dogs off the lead and they're allowed to walk around. They can do whatever they like. And this lady's walking a German Shepherd. And there's a Rottweiler that's off its lead. And the Rottweiler just walked up to the other dog. And the lady walking the German Shepherd just started kicking the Rottweiler in the head. Now, I was standing a long way away. I was on the other side of the park. There was a pond in between. I couldn't really get there and do anything. But it was quite funny to see. Well, it wasn't funny, a dog being kicked, but the tension that people are in today, that this would be a thing that would even happen. I mean, I wouldn't kick a Rottweiler if it come near me. Fuck that. I'm going to be on its best. I'm going to be on its side. You know, I'm going to be petting that dog. You know, that's the best dog in the world. I'm kicking a fucking Rottweiler. But she kicked it in the head about 3 or 4 times. And, you know, it's pretty devastating to see people suffering so bad in this time, this anxiety that the people are suffering. And I'm definitely noticing being cooped up, you know. I really struggle being indoors. I'm never inside. I don't like to be inside. I like to be out and about and, you know, I like to go out for dinner, for coffee. I'll look for any excuse. I'll go down and buy Mrs. Tampons if I have to, just to get the fuck out of the house. So I'm struggling big time to stay indoors, try and stay focused on what's, you know. Luckily I've got my son and he keeps me very entertained. I've got to entertain him all day. And, you know, the other day I was in the shower with him and I'm washing, and he's sort of at that stage now where he's starting to do some of the things that, you know, he hasn't been able to do himself. He's able to wash himself a little bit and, you know, before it was me washing him. But he's taken on that task now. So he's got the soap and he's putting it into his hands. He's lathering himself up. He feels, you know, he feels amazing. And then he gets around to his back and he's doing his back. And I said, make sure you do your bum. And he's washing his bum. And all of a sudden, his eyes light up and he looks up at me and goes, Dad. I go, what, mate? What's wrong? He goes, I got a hole. He's got his finger in his bum. Oh, and he's telling me he's got a hole. He's worried. He's worried his insides are going to fall out. I don't know what he's worried about, but I had to explain to him, you know, we've all got bum holes. You know, this is where we go to the toilet and everything like that. And he then wants to see my bum hole. And these are the exciting things you have to go through as a parent. And I wonder if I did those types of things, you know. I just wonder if I was in the shower with my dad ever, or ever he washed me or changed a nappy or anything like that. But, you know, it's things like that that just really get you through the day in these hard times. And you can sit there and still laugh about it a few days later. Oh, geez. But look, oh, geez. It is crazy being in with the family, and it's definitely tough. I got my father-in-law, who's sort of mid-70s, Chinese man, very eccentric, and I hope I can get him on the podcast one day to tell a few of his stories of what it was like growing up in Malaysia and those types of things. But it's driving me a little bit insane, all of us being cooped up in the house. So what I started doing, I started listening to Helter Skelter on repeat, just flat out. So when I do end up murdering the whole family and the police are looking through my phone for evidence of, why he might have done it, I complete insanity when they go through my YouTube history and they see Helter Skelter being playing. Hopefully that helps me a little bit, as a bit of a defense that I was mentally insane and, Charles Manson made me do it. And, it doesn't look as bad as me killing everyone because I'm definitely on the verge. It's definitely getting very hard, very, just testing things. And I'm a hot-headed person. I get angry at the drop of a fucking hat. I'm pissed off. I'm already pissed off. I wake up pissed off. It only takes the smallest thing to just push me over the edge and I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So it's one of those things. It's just, it's easier to just walk away. Just walk away. That's what I keep telling all my mates. If things get tough, just walk away. Look at the small things. Try and look at the enjoyable things, like your son sticking his finger in his ass. They're the things we need to cherish at the moment. A bit of, yeah. Speaking of, did anyone see George Pell getting released and how beautiful it was around Easter time, him getting released? And I just found it very funny that he got out at the petrol station and the reporters are trying to film him. He got out of the car and he said, keep your social distance, keep your social distance. And if only he did that in the beginning, he wouldn't be in this fucking mess. I don't think he needs to be telling anyone about social distance. And I didn't see it. I don't have Twitter myself, but the Pope put out a strange tweet, I hear, about, I'm not sure, I'm not going to quote it, but it was something to do with him and comparing him with Jesus. I think that's a very, very funny little comparison to their Almighty, and they're comparing him to a child molester. I'd like to think if there was a Jesus, he just chilled out with Mary Magdalene and didn't go anywhere near children in that way. Like he was good to them. Don't get me wrong. He was, but not George Pell like he wasn't. Forcing his social distance on children. I didn't know how else to put that. But, they're interesting times, these. They're very interesting times. And, it just, look, that's what, speaking of conspiracy theories and corruption and stuff like that, there's a man that should never got out. I'm sorry. And even if he is innocent, maybe he was wrongly convicted. Very small chance, all right? I'm the type of person that where there's smoke, there's fire. Something happened. These kids aren't going to come out, or they're not kids anymore. These people aren't going to come out and say that this guy did this if they didn't, And the Catholic Church have a very, very, big past history of this type of thing and it being covered up and whatnot. And whether or not he did it himself, well, he definitely covered up shit. Lock him up. And then there was a group of people that went out and vandalized one of the churches in the city. And I'd like to see more of this. Myself personally, they should be doing it every day until he gets locked up again, because we don't need people like that on the street. We don't need people like him. It's hard enough people going through everything that they're going through, let alone now just pissing off people more. So we're locked at home and now we're pissed off. We're pissed off you let a pedophile out on the street. It's disgusting how the system works. And you've got, all these innocent people that are struggling, and he's got the help of all these high up people, this organisation to help him. So a little bit frustrating, and it just frustrates me, it just really upsets me. And it's just going to blow under the rug now because we've got too much more to worry about. Watching the news the other day, and even when they're talking about other topics now, you've still got the coronavirus just in the background, just flashing at you the whole time. They're going, we're going to go to sport now, but at the same time, we've got the coronavirus flashing everywhere, just to remind you that you're all fucked and you need to stay home. Because what we want to do is we want to put up these towers. And we want to do it in dark. We don't want people to see us doing it. We're going to put up these towers. We're going to tell you it's coronavirus. We're going to put up these towers. That's what the news, everyone's in on it. Everyone's in on it. Even, yeah, well, they'll benefit from 5G as well, because it means that we'll be able to stream news quicker as well. So I guess they're all in on it as well. And another show that they're putting out at the moment, which is great. Look, I love cooking. MasterChef. Now's not the time. Okay. I don't want to see a group of people stressing the fuck out on TV. It's the last thing I want at the moment. I want to be able to put something on the TV and just relax and just enjoy a bit of peace, a bit of harmony. And what they've done is they, you know, like they do every year, they put a fucking TV show on that is just a group of people, 20 odd people, stressing out of their brain to be able to hold this plate up at the end. And I think it's $250,000 prize money or something like that, which is, it'd be nice. I wouldn't mind it, but I don't want to see people stressing at the moment. It causes my anxiety. It makes everything worse. I finished watching it and I'm on edge. I'm ready. I don't know what to do. It's crazy. Why would you put something like that on? You know, put a nice relaxing cooking show on where everyone can just sit down and eat at the end and there's no competition. Let's just chill out for a moment. But, you know, I went to work the other day to drop something off, and while I was there, one of my clients walked past and we had a brief chat. We were standing quite a distance apart, but one thing it made me realize that we need to just enjoy those moments and we have that brief interaction with someone, you know, just take what you can from that, because as people, we need to we do need communication. We do need to interact, you know, otherwise we're on our own. We feel isolated. And I was driving away and I thought, you know, that was nice, you know, good to see him, good to catch up, see how he's going, make sure he's safe, his family's safe, but also really just ponder on that, evaluate that interaction. You know, we have so many interactions normally in our day, we can't process it. In this time, it really shows you can process these things. You have this small interaction, but it means something. You got that little bit of satisfaction that you needed of communicating with someone. And we need to do that more with people and be positive with our friends, our family, and just reach out, you know, even if it's every couple of days, just your phone calls and things like that. Just make sure everyone's doing right, because, you know, I'd hate for someone to be suffering in silence, not be able to, you know, not have anyone there for them. So just make sure that we're there for each other in these times. And I'm already putting things at the top of the list of things I'm going to do once this isolation's over. So I was talking to someone tonight. I'm definitely hanging to go out for dinner for a nice big steak. Oh, geez, I can't wait. For a nice, it's probably going to cost me $300 because the price of meat would have gone up so far. I remember when the hype first started, it was $20-something for a kilo of minced meat. I can't imagine what a 350-gram dry-aged ribeye is going to cost, but it's definitely going to be worth it. I can't wait. There's going to be so many things that I'm looking forward to doing, you know, that we just take for granted. Just going for a coffee, just going on the way to work, stopping and getting a coffee is something that I just love doing. You know, I got my cafes I go to. I know the people when I go there. Once again, it's about that interaction, that conversation, that chat. And you get to enjoy, have a laugh before you actually get to work. I've never wanted to go to work so much in my life, just to get the fuck out. I don't realize, I've been a stay-at-home dad for a few years as well, which has been fantastic. But having my own business, I've been flexible with the hours that I work. And you don't realize what those few hours going in an evening or a morning and just taking your mind off that constant looking after a child and being in the house and doing those types of things. You know, now he's old enough to go to childcare, and next year he's going to kinder. And, you know, he's doing all these things. And today he rode his bike in the park for the first time with his training wheels on. He's had a balance bike, but all these steps that slowly make me less needed. And I'm liking that, because I'm not good as a needed father. You know, like I'm probably not the most fantastic role model. And being a comedian, it definitely pushes you down a path that you find things funny that the normal people don't. So I allow my son to do a lot more things that many people wouldn't, because I find it funny, and it encourages him to do it more when he sees me laughing at what he's doing, which is not the right thing to do. And I know that. But it's one thing about being a comedian. We're looking for that joke always in everything, in every role. I've never not been looking for the joke in things. So I really I like seeing where his mind will go with things, you know. Having my father-in-law has been fantastic as well. But one thing I've noticed, he's definitely feeling more at home. You know, we've got a beautiful lounge area with a big projector TV. I got it for the football. There's no football, so I'm not in there at the moment. And I put a nice little Canara in there, and, you know, the wood fire. It's beautiful at night. And now that it's getting a little bit more chilly, we've been lighting the fire just to save on a bit of energy and things like that. And last night I'm watching TV in the living room, so not in the lounge room. And he comes up and he goes, "Enough firewood in there now. You don't need to put any more in. It's done." And I thought, I bought the fireplace. I chopped up the firewood with my bare hands. I'll put as much firewood as I want in that chitch. So I went in there purposely and just filled it. I filled it, closed it, because that's what I do. I'm a spiteful person, but I thought, you're getting a little bit too comfortable, and I need to now do something to my firewood. Then I went to bed. I didn't even use it. So I wasted the firewood for no good reason. But, you know, look, it's everyone's finding it hard now to try and stay contained, try and stay in. And I like doing these things to break people. Don't tell me it's enough firewood in my fire. But look, I don't even really know what he meant by it. I think he was saying he was going to bed. He didn't need to put any more firewood. So, you know, don't do it for him. But I did it for me, for my purposes only. And look, I hope shortly that we'll be able to start producing the podcast with Mihail, get it on here, because it's pretty fucking boring with just me. You know, I want someone to bounce off. I want, you know, I want you guys to enjoy this as much as we have in the process of getting it ready for you guys. And once these bans are lifted, you know, I'm looking forward to having some really interesting people on here to have a good chat. We've got a lineup, and, you know, doing Zoom calls or video calls is good, but they can be challenging at times too. It's very easy, you know, to talk over each other because, you know, it's not real life. You know, it's not face to face. It's over a computer, and it does get a little bit hard to know who's going to talk and whatnot. But look, we'll get a couple of them going. I want to get a few people on here also to help you guys understand exactly who I am, how my mind ticks. You know, that's why I want to get my parents on here. I want to get a couple of close mates from high school. Mihail, obviously, will be able to tell you a few stories. We've known each other since we were 5, so it's going to be very interesting, the stuff that comes out between me and him. And, you know, I think in the early days, maybe I was the one who was looked upon was the bad influence on him. And I think now, well, we're just as bad as each other, if not. Mihail might be a little bit worse than me actually now. So it's going to be very good. It's going to be fun to see how it all plays out. And in the process of setting up this, you know, it's also been a bit of a healing process for us. You know, we've had long conversations and, you know, also delving into a little bit of our own personal stuff. And, you know, it's definitely opened up who we are as people. And, you know, so I hope that we can share that with you, and, you know, we'll all be able to learn off each other eventually. That's the plan with all this. That's the reason really behind it, is we want to be able to take your minds off things. We want to be able to have a laugh. We want to talk some serious shit as well. But we want to learn from our lives, our life experiences, and other people's experiences as well. So, you know, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. You know, it hasn't been as funny as normal, but what the fuck can we laugh at? You know, like there's nothing at the moment we're not out and about. You know, we had a bit of a laugh about George Pell and some 5G guys, you know, but, you know, there's not a lot happening at the moment. And now I'm just excited to see who's going to go into the elimination round in MasterChef tomorrow night, because there's fucking nothing else. You know, give me some football, give me something, give me some sport, anything. But, you know, so look, hopefully, and, you know, I did say that I was going to wait till our time was up to get a haircut. But obviously, as you can tell, I've gone today to the wonderful Rob Basso and got my hair cut because I couldn't keep doing it. You know, normally I get my hair cut every 2 weeks. So it was starting to get a bit fucking ridiculous. I couldn't handle it. And I like it this length because I don't have to do anything with it. I literally jump out of the shower, run my hand through it, and it's fucking done. It's perfect. So, you know, I know I was going to wait. I thought about it. I tried. Maybe that's something we think about in the future, about raising money for something where I don't get a haircut or touch my hair, because it's not something that I can do. So maybe that's something we can look at. That could be a fun little thing. But yeah, as I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in to Trapani's Choice. And just remember, it's my fucking choice. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you later, guys.